On this 8th day of May, also known as Mother's Day, I would like to wish all mothers, wherever they are, on earth or in heaven, a very happy Mother's Day. And today, I want to spend just around 30 minutes in this video to just remember my mother and pay tributes to her. And first, let me just thank God for the parents that He gave me. And also thank the Almighty for the life and times that He allowed them to live in this life, in this world. And again, just thank God for the life and times that He allowed me and us as their children with them. And also just for the life and times that He allowed them with the community around them, including relatives and friends that they got to meet during their stay. Because it's through these people, when they come and now start eulogizing her or them, saying how much they impacted their lives, how they looked on them as role models, that is when you get to appreciate and learn that they lived their life well and probably accomplished their purpose in this life. So we want to thank God so much for bringing them into our lives, or bringing us to their lives. My parents had so much in common. They shared a lot in common. From humility, they were very humble people. They were very God-fearing. Having been born again from very young ages, very tender ages in their lives. My father was born again from he was very young, and also my mother. And they kept the faith up to the last day in their life. In fact, it is through being born again that they met. If it was not for their love for God, maybe they wouldn't have met. You know? During those days, when somebody is born again, you just go to church and serve in your parish. You don't even come one day and say that I've found somebody that I love, I want to marry. No. It is your fellow congregants who will one day decide that now you are now mature for marriage, and then they forward your name to maybe another parish if there's another man also in that area, or lady who is also now mature. Then they connect you. It's not for you to say that now you found somebody. It was just for the fellowship to say that now we have a mature man on this side. We are supposed to look for a mature lady from another parish so that we bring them together. I don't know if that's the case also in my parents, but it's likely. That's how it used to happen in those days. You know? So it is God also that united them. And also at their time of living or death, they both, died on a Monday at almost the same time, just going to around 1:30 in March, both of them, and they even almost matched the dates. My dad was arrested on the 27th of March. 5 years later, on the 26th of March, my mom also was being, arrested. And they were also similar another way. They will not give you demands. Like, when maybe you've traveled up country, now you are leaving. You want to go back to town or to your workplace. They will not send you a list of things, that demands that you're supposed to go and buy for them, like it's common in other places, or in many cases. For them, they will just wish you well, go well, and you reach well, call us and tell us you have reached. No demands that when you're coming, you bring for us such a thing. Even when you tell them that you'll be coming next weekend or a such a date, they'll just pray for you to come well and travel well. And when you come, they usher you in and receive you the way you have come. Even when you come with luggages, if you don't just declare that we should open this luggage, there are some few things there for us, they will not open. They were never too curious to see what is inside. You will just come, and even if you want to now go around greeting villagers, neighbors, the villagers will start even now benefiting from your coming before even they enjoy anything. I remember there's a time I traveled home and I had a luggage with some shoppings, but I had not, said that it should be opened, so it was just kept like that. So the following day, I overheard my mom sending somebody to go to the shopping center and buy sugar and bread for breakfast. Then I just remembered, in that luggage, that box, there's some shopping in there. That's when now we realize that it has not been opened, then we open and remove things. That's how humble they were. And there was only one time that my dad asked me to send for him something when I'll be coming back. He asked me to try and fetch for him the glasses, the ones for reading. When he liked to read his Bible, his newspapers all the time, he wanted me to buy for him those glasses that magnifies the writings. That was the only time he sent me to fetch for him something. And my mother also on one occasion asked me to fetch her something. And that was a knife. He asked me to, when I'll be coming, I should go to the Juakali people and look for a very strong knife that can be used very well for peeling cassavas and potatoes. That is also the only thing that I can remember she ever asked me to bring to her, for her. And I was able to send it even before my time of going back. I sent somebody to go and deliver. They were so humble like that. Even when you reach home, if you had announced you are coming, you will just find already some nice meals prepared. You like to make chicken, for people who are just arriving or are reaching home from, if it's been a long time before you had met, you find that chicken is ready. That one you can always be sure. if you had announced you are coming, you would find chicken already prepared. You know? And my mother was a very, very good person. Like I was telling mourners during her burial, you know, people are used to praising people when they die. So even when we're talking about a real good person, people may just take it for granted. But the person I'm talking about was such a very good person. And this you know by the kind of things he used to do to different people. Everybody who comes at home will always tell you, for me, she did this to me, she did this to me, somebody else like that. Everybody has a testimony, what she was doing to them. And some of these things I was even seeing myself. People from the village will just come home. Somebody just tells her, you know, for me at home, there's nothing we can eat with the children. And he will just allow that person to go to her shamba to harvest potatoes, you know. Go to my shamba in such an area, harvest cassava, and go and make maybe boil some. You know? And it's not as if she was well off or that she was in a good condition her own self. But she didn't like to show that she was maybe going through some hard condition. She will just make sure that he is around her home, clean, everything. You wouldn't know that he's suffering from maybe another thing. So people around the place will just mistake her to be one of the people who are well off, which was not really the case. You know, he's just kind-hearted and generous. There was a time also I remember my mom really rescued me from very thorough caning from my teacher. You know, she had just come for Parents' Day, and my teacher called her to to ask her why she had not settled my mock exams. There's a few we used to pay so that we can sit for the mocks. And she had already given me that money long time. It is me who was keeping the money in my, in my books, because I didn't want to pay it so early. And everybody else has not paid. I wanted to wait a bit for other people to also pay, so that is when I also pay. But this Parents' Day, when she came and she was asked, why haven't you paid for your son's mock fee? And she said, I already paid, you know. And then I was called. Phil, why? Why haven't you paid? And your mom says she has already sent you the money. So I had to defend myself. I just said, you know, the money got lost, and I've been fearing to come and ask for another money again. So the teachers, when they heard that, they just rushed very quickly to go and fetch some canes so that I can they can cane me. And when the teacher was away, she asked me, are you sure the money that I sent you to come and pay got lost? And I just now had to open up and say the truth that the money is in my bag. I didn't want to pay. I didn't want to be the first person to pay, because other people also have not paid. So I was waiting for people also to pay so that I can also pay, you know. Okay, so when the teacher came ready to start beating me, she just asked him to leave the matter, that she would handle the matter now at home. So just like that, and she asked me to leave. Just like that, and he saved me, on that occasion. During all my schooling, I was with her from class 1 to class 8, and she used to just make sure that we don't lack any of these things that are required in school. He was a very strong pillar in making sure that she brought her children up. My dad was working in Busia, and she was at home with us. And she used to do a whole lot of things to make sure that we are doing well, including farming, Even he tried his hand in businesses here and there. I remember she used to send me to fetch paraffin at a shopping center where one of my uncles had a wholesale for paraffin. So he used to send us to go and fetch the paraffin, and then he comes to sell to the villagers also, And even during her days when she was still living in the urban areas, she was doing some businesses there, I can remember there's a time I was a very young kid, even I had not started school, but I could remember she had a small kiosk where he used to sell vegetables, and he used to have a customer who used to come and just order for kachumbari, and she would cut for her onions, tomatoes, avocado, and this guy will just eat those raw vegetables like that. I can remember that. So business used to also have a business hand. And even up to the last time that she was even now resting, she managed to operate a portion mill for a very long period, over 10 years, without running it down, So that's how strong a pillar she was. She was not this kind of person who was just lazy like this. And she had a lot of respect for the authorities, And he used to feel very bad when somebody in a position of authority would abuse that office. On her side, when there was an order or a request that the citizens are supposed to do, she would always play her part. But when somebody now who is in a position of authority is messing, that used to really bother her. And she would always say, now look, this person. You remember even during this COVID pandemic, the government requested the population to be wearing face masks. Some people, even in urban areas, where these things are very available and cheap, still will not wear until they are threatened to be arrested. But my mother in the village used to put on her face mask without waiting to be intimidated or anything. And even the vaccination, there are some people even up to today, and they are living in urban areas, have not gone to take these jabs, these vaccinations. And for her, when they were now available, she went and took a jab and got vaccinated. He used to just obey any order or any request that the government puts. Even the Huduma number, when people were asked to go and apply for the Huduma numbers, many of the people, even up to today, in urban areas where you could, think that people are more enlightened, did not apply. But for her, she obtained her own, you know. And I remember even a long time when I was still a young kid, there used to be some village levies, you know. You find that maybe in a baraza, the people just announce, the authorities, they just announce that every home you are going to pay maybe 100 shillings for a certain project, maybe a cattle dip, you know, or whatever project it is. Whenever there was a request like that, she will always make sure that she submits her own money. And in fact, the authorities had known that she was so loyal. You find that if a levy like that is required in a homestead, instead of these people going to other houses in the homestead, they will just come to my mother's house and fetch the money for the whole place. And she will just pay. You know? That is how loyal he used to be. And there was always some chemistry between my mom and me, you know. She just had some ways of reading my mind sometimes. Even when I was in the village long time, still schooling, I may plan to do something. So you find that maybe I want to just finish my work very early. I fetch water, you know, clean everything. And then she just start wondering, this guy maybe is up to something. He's finishing his work so quickly, you know. And then she just brings a story that, you know, such a thing like this, trying to maybe discourage you from doing some other things. And at that time, whatever she's discouraging me from doing, you will find that that is the plan that I was having, you know. So just wonder, how did she read my mind to know that I'm planning such an adventure or such a thing, so that she can now discourage me. And even when now I was far away in the city and she's at home, sometimes there are two occasions that she surprised me. I was just ready to go for the, you know, let me just say, because I was even telling my cousins today later about this same example. I was just about to go for demonstrations, you know. And now, you know, it was during post-election violence and everything. I just see my phone ringing. So when I called it, I picked it was my mom. Then she just told me, you know, you are in the city and everything, all the things that we are hearing, please don't involve yourself, you know. And I was already prepared to leave, you know. And on that occasion, because even my other colleagues were waiting there, we just went for that demonstration. And on that day, the police people caught me in a corner now that I could not escape. You know, they managed to disperse everybody. And the route I took was a wrong escape route. And I just went to a corner where now there's a wall. There's no way you can go through. And the police on you know, these horses just came to me like this. Now there's nowhere to go. He just caught me like this, you know. And if he liked, he would just hit me with that rungu. You know, they had some rungus, you know, like this, the one that I use for jembes. The rungu is like that. So if he liked, he would have just hit me, and then I collapsed there. But he looked at me, and for some reason, he just left me to leave. Because even the cameras, the media people were just, capturing everything. I think that is what maybe intimidated them to just leave me. And some people even saw me in the news and also called me to stop this demonstration thing. You know? So I just went home and wondered, this thing I was warned by my mom not to do, And then I go there and look at this thing now, what almost happened to me. You know, that, how that spark, how did he have that chemistry that this boy maybe is going to do something? And also there's another time she called me. And I was also up to something on that day, you know. And she called me and asked me and talked for some time and started to discourage me of doing some other things. And this the very same thing she was discouraging me from is what I was up to. And on that occasion I downed that plan. I stopped that plan and did not proceed with it. You can imagine. How is it possible for her to be reading my mind from such a distance? It means she used to pray for me so much. That's what I know. She used to pray for me so much. That's why that connection, that spark used to work. Maybe it's God who used to give her revelation so that he can call me and warn me of some of these things. You know? And a lot of good things have happened to me. And I know it is because of her prayers. You know? Sometimes I just receive some amazing favor, you know? And then I wonder, how is this possible? This is God. And it was because she used to pray for me. That's how I will now be able to be passing all these things. Last time I was up country, was in December. We had a funeral in the neighboring home. A very young lady had passed through a road accident. So we went, home to lay her to rest. It was around 17th of December, 2021. And that was the last time that we shared a meal, or I shared a meal with her. As usual, on that day, she had prepared, after the funeral was finished and everything, now people have scattered, we went home and she had set aside some chicken she wanted to prepare. And I was just with her in the kitchen, everything. We removed the feathers from the chicken. All that process, we were together until the food was ready. We go to the main house, we had a meal together, and we spoke a lot on that occasion. And this was just the last time. These were just the last times that I was having with her. You know? And she told me a lot of things, you know, counseling me, advising me. I don't know that this was the last time or the last discussion we were having. And when we were done, I had to leave to go and spend at the funeral because we were leaving very early in the morning with the vehicle we had come with. So that was the last time or the last opportunity that I spent with her. Only for her now to pass in March. And there's nothing we can do. As you know, these are some of the decisions that are made somewhere else. We just have to accept them like that and allow her to rest in peace. A mother is the one person in your life that you can always be sure that wants the best for you in whatever situation. wherever, whenever. She will always want the best for you, even if maybe you think she's advising you wrongly or she's not advising you properly. But at the end of the day, she's only up to the best to happen to you. So on this Mother's Day, I want to honor all mothers and thank them so much for giving us life. And to my mom, continue resting in peace until we shall meet again. Thank you.